on my legs and I just strap my knee braces on, I guarantee you I'm going to have blisters all over the back of my leg where the straps go. So you put this stuff on heavily. You want to make sure you get something that doesn't bleed away from your sweat, wash away from your sweat. You go to any bicycle shop to get this stuff. Better be putting this stuff on than walking around with monkey butt at the end of the night, dreading about getting back in the saddle again for the next day's stage, okay? Couple maintenance items. Your bike should be at 100% when you roll into administrative check-in and for scrutineering inspection. The only thing you should have to do is wire up your rally comp. That's the only thing you should have to do. I can understand guys are pushing it. You know, I've worked a job where my schedule is all over the place in law enforcement. It's just crazy. So you say, well, I can get it done at the last minute. You try to get as much maintenance done as your bike as possible before showing up to the event. So the only thing that you'd have to do is maybe a small item by popping in a new air filter, possibly changing your oil, something minor. Don't show up for anything major because it may haunt you later. But when you're out in the field, oil. Bring a quart of oil, a collapsible funnel to go with it. Anything that's a lubricant that could spill in my gear, anything that could be hazardous to my gear goes in a Ziploc bag, okay? You can bring brake oil, brake fluid, antifreeze, whatever that goes in this, right? It doesn't have to be in the original container. It could be something just so you could have something to top off your bike if you should need it in the backcountry. Let's talk air filters. You can do pre-oiled air filters, or you can oil them up yourself, like these Twin Air. They come in a Ziploc bag, so you can oil it up, keep it in there, and put it in your gear. You don't want to be cleaning these at the bivouac. Time is of the essence. Rally is a time discipline. The longer you work on your bike, that's more time you're taking out of your sleep routine, okay? Our rallies are not easy. I know we don't have, everybody says we're not having these crazy speeds of 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour. Guess what? That's fine. But we have an enduro rally, okay? You're going to ride everything. And when we say everything, you're going to get worn out, okay? So it's going to test your skill set. It's going to test your navigation. It's going to test your endurance. It's going to test everything. So I would highly recommend 5 air filters already lubed up, ready to go for installation in your gear in a Ziploc bag. Let's talk inner tubes. We can't use mooses. I wish we could, but they're not DOT compliant here in the U.S. If somebody came out with a DOT compliant moose, I'd bless them in a heartbeat. But there's this liability thing here in America that everybody's big about, so we have to go by the book for the book. So inner tubes. Bring a good heavy inner tube that you can install into your tires with ease. You can get super heavy ones. They weigh a ton, but then they're also bare to install, and then you can't carry them in your fender bag on the front fender of your bike if that's where you carry it like I do. You can put it in your saddle bag. You can do anything that you want, you know, giant loop, Moscow bags. All those bags work great on enduro bikes because they're built for what we do in the backcountry, and they're tough. But you can bring as many of these as your little heart desires, okay? One thing I would recommend is if you have never done a tire change before in the field, I would highly suggest you practice doing it, okay? Because there's nothing worse than doing it for your first time and then you're angry at the world, or worse yet, it's your only inner tube and you end up tearing it up, and then you have to ride in on just the carcass of the tire. All that stuff that I had is now in my tote. I I didn't even stack it properly. I just tossed it in there and it fit perfectly. Some things to remember, okay? The totes have to be uniform. That's for our volunteers that come in. You guys bring your gear with your totes. All this stuff has to interlock and stack on top of each other. If it's a different style tote and it doesn't stack on top of another tote, well, now we have a problem, okay? We don't want that. We want uniformity, okay? The lid of the tote has to be on flush like it is now. You don't want your gear hanging out the sides. You don't want it humped up. Nice uniform tote. The carnival, as we call it, or the circus, once you guys are off the start line and gone, the volunteers and everybody, they start the routine of moving gear from point A to point B, and we try to make sure that it goes off without a hitch. You can bring other items to put in here. Just remember, no heavy maintenance items. That means no top ends, no bottom ends, nothing like that. If you want to bring a spare lithium battery, that's fine. If you want to bring replacement levers, clutch levers, brake levers, that's fine. Just remember, your bike is supposed to be 100% ready to go and pass scrutineering on the day that you check in. The guys do the best they can going through scrutiny.